America is a country steeped in violence. Spree violence, police violence, suicide, war, rape, it's all around us. It saturates our entertainment, our culture, and as we sadly found out in Florida yesterday, our news. And every time there's a spree shooting in the United States, we go through the same motions of useless outrage and tiresome debates that never go anywhere or solve anything, and it all fades away until the next big mass shooting. And every time we get a little more numb, we get a little more jaded, a little more cynical. For me, this is a personal issue. I'm sure it's personal for many of you as well. I've lost 4 friends to suicide. I've lost 1 friend to murder-suicide. I've known good men and women who joined our military only to have their bodies and their minds broken fighting in foreign wars. And of course, it goes beyond our borders. I've taught students and had colleagues from Iraq and Syria and other places in the Middle East who suffered directly and indirectly from the American imperialist war machine. Now, most American liberals say that the solution to this violence would be gun control. Just get all the guns off the streets, get them out of private citizens' hands, and the violence will just disappear. I'm not going to go into whether that's true or not. I'm not going to get into the gun control debate in this video. There's a lot to unpack with that. There's even a lot of disagreement within leftist circles as to whether or not we should be trying to seek gun control. All I want to say in this video is that gun violence is only one symptom of a much larger disease of violence in the United States of America. Even if we got rid of every single firearm in the United States, we would still have a violent culture and these violent systems in place in America. Even if we got rid of the guns, we would still be perpetuating foreign wars that are needless and serving only to line the pockets of our military-industrial corporations. Women would still be suffering from domestic and sexual violence. Boys would be suffering the violence and brutality of toxic masculinity and bullying in school. Of course, there would be racial violence, police violence, and the list goes on and on. The causes of violence in the United States of America are all tied together, and they all relate directly to the reactionary social and political systems that we've had in place since the foundation of the country. First, we can look at capitalism. Capitalism grinds down workers. It puts the tremendous amounts of stress on us at the workplace. In the capitalist system, we, the human workers, are valueless. We're like parts in a machine. If we stop working well, if we stop making a profit, if we're not making enough of a profit, we get discarded, we get replaced. So, of course, a lot of people snap. They go violent in the workplace, or they might just go home and take it out on their families in the form of domestic violence. Toxic masculinity raises American boys to be emotionally broken and isolated and afraid to form connections with other human beings and unsure of how to deal with the pain that we carry through life living as humans in this world. These boys grow up to treat women as objects and as things to use and discard or to control and possess. And that's why so many American women become victims of rape, sexual violence, domestic abuse. In America, we can't even provide adequate physical health care for people who are sick or injured. So, of course, our mental health care program is practically non-existent. There are millions of Americans in desperate need of mental health care, and the social safety nets just aren't there. They just do not exist in our nation. It's all tied together. Our toxic patriarchy emotionally alienates 1/2 of the population and subjugates the other half. And that's not even taking into consideration all of the trans people and the gays and lesbians who don't quite fit into that societal expectation or definition of what gender is. I mean, there are so many people who are so repressed that they can't even be who they want to be in terms of a gender identity. That leads to violence as well. Just look at the statistics for, trans people being victims of violence or committing self-harm. These people are suffering. And our systems don't care about these people. But liberals see the American system, the American way of life, the American culture as fundamentally okay. They believe our culture and our economic systems are basically good, and that we can adjust and tweak and fix this, fix that, tamper here, tamper there, and make the United States of America a wonderful place with the systems that we already have. We can get rid of the violence, just, put some gun control in here, maybe have a little bit more better health care there, and blammo, the United States of America is going to be a great country. Well, we as leftists, we know that the system itself is built on a bedrock of violence. The history of the United States is a history of violence. The government of the United States is a government of warmongering and genocide and profiteering on that genocide. And the system of capitalism has always been a system of theft and of oppression. What I want to try to make you understand is that leftism is the political front for human decency. Leftism is the ideology of compassion. It's the economic system that puts people ahead of profits. As leftists, we strive to place the quality of life of our fellow human beings at the center of every consideration, of every decision that we make. We don't believe in the myth that the free market is going to, use competition and social Darwinism to lead us to excellence, because we believe that humans are excellent. And we believe that the great things that society has already built have come from people coming together and working together and supporting each other and building systems that nurture and support individuals from the cradle all the way to the grave. And we know that if we're going to have a future where there's any hope for working class, common, average people like you and me, it's going to have to come from dismantling these systems of oppression and these systems of wealth disparity and these systems of just grinding one group of people down to make a smaller group of people get lifted up, whether that's racism, whether it's capitalism, whether it's sexism. We have to get rid of these systems. We can't just tamper with them and fix them and manipulate them into being good systems. We have to throw that baby out with the bathwater and try something new. So if you're a liberal and you're watching this video, I don't expect you to just take everything I'm saying, take my word for it all. I'm not going to change your mind with one video, but all I would really beg for you to do is just read some leftist literature. Read Marx, read the Manifesto, read Kropotkin's The Conquest of Bread, read Che Guevara, read Noam Chomsky. There's a lot of really good stuff out there. I mean, none of these people are idols or heroes. Every human being has flaws. Every work of literature, every work of philosophy, every work of political theory has flaws in the logic. So you can go in and nitpick it. But I believe that if you've been asking these questions like what can humans do to solve these problems? How can we have a more peaceful future? How can the United States put an end to all of this oppression and suffering that we have? I've found the answers to those questions in leftism. And I think if you come and talk to some leftists, we want to listen to what you have to say. We want to answer your questions. Most of us were liberals like you at some point in our lives. I was liberal just about a year ago. So we're not going to judge you. We're not going to think poorly of you for coming and asking questions. And maybe leftism's not for you, but it might be. And all I would ask you to do is just keep an open mind as we go forward. That's all I got to say for now. Once again, I'm American Johnson. This is Non-Compete. You can check out the blog at non-compete.com. And thank you so much for watching. Please take care of each other, comrades.